Hey, I'm Lindsay from Garden Hands, and it's the end of June. I wanted to do a quick little garden tour of a few of the beds in my front yard. We finally got an overcast evening. It's about 8 at night. We just got a bunch of rain, our first rain in a long time. And again, it's overcast. I can get the camera out here. Things are looking a little bit harsh. I'm not watering most of the beds that I'm going to walk through. So they've been pretty parched for the past month and a half, but I just wanted to give you a quick update on some of the flowers that are blooming right now and some of the things that we had going and some of the things that are yet to come. So this first bed is what I call the memory garden. We put this in 2 years ago. It's in our front yard. It's kind of a kidney bean shaped flower bed. I can see it from my office window, so I do enjoy seeing this progress and seeing it kind of go through the different seasons and the different bloom times. We've got a willow tree in here and a blue spruce over in the corner. I've got the horses in the background going kind of crazy because they finally got a little bit of rain, so they're out rolling around. But in here I have phlox in the front. And behind that is Midnight Masquerade penstemon, which I'm absolutely loving. It has slightly darker strappy leaves, but the stems of these plants are a little darker, and then they have the really light lavender bell flowers on top. They don't seem to spread too much. I believe they're supposed to get probably like 3 feet wide. Mine are maybe 1.5 feet right now. Again, I'm not watering them, so perhaps if I took slightly better care of them, then they would get a little bit bigger and bulkier. So we'll see how they do over the next year. Then cruising along here, you can see the spent alliums. I need to get those out of here. They were beautiful. They did naturalize a little bit this year. I got a couple of new ones to pop up, so that was kind of fun. And the irises over here were absolutely beautiful this year. I don't know if I got a picture of them. I think I went a month without taking a picture out here, which was not good, but they were absolutely stunning. I have a Russian sage in here somewhere. Here's some sedum. Oh, shoot. I don't remember the name of this. I'll put a picture on the screen. But basically it's a variegated sedum. It looks, when it blooms, just like autumn joy, but the variegated leaves are kind of a creamy, buttery yellow, along with that almost matte green color. They're really pretty and quite striking from a distance. It's a nice contrast to some of this other stuff that's in here. You can see a couple little spots here. I am trying to propagate it. I think I need just a slightly bigger wave of this, so that you can kind of see it wrap around up here, and then it'll disappear back by the 9 bark. It looks like my salvia might have taken a little bit of a hit in the rain there. It really didn't stand up to that rain. Pretty high winds though. I think it'll bounce back, and it's just finishing up its first flush of blooms. It's gorgeous deep purple. Once this is done blooming, I will cut this back, and it should bloom one more time for us. There's our cute little blue spruce with a Russian sage in front. Another Russian sage. Those are doing really well. They're starting to bud up. So we'll see some flowers on here fairly soon. I have the Terracotta Yarrow in here. It's a good 3 feet tall. I'm on the fence about this one. I think what I'd really like in here is a pink yarrow, or maybe even a white yarrow. I think white. White is what I think I would like. This one, the color just doesn't quite do it for me. And the height is, it's about the same height as the 9 bark. Perhaps the 9 bark is going to get taller and then it'll be more of a contrast, but I'm just not loving the yarrow in here. The other thing that might kind of be throwing me is that I don't really have anything in front. So it goes from 0 feet to 3 feet. And it needs kind of a step down layer in front of it. I do have petunias in here, but they're not thriving because we had no rain. So something for me to think about for next year. I have 3 peonies in here. I did cut a couple blooms off of them just to use in bouquets, but next year I should have, you know, fairly sizable plants that I can actually cut off of them. And then I have 3 Limelight Hydrangeas. These are gonna get pretty big. I think they're probably gonna get 5 feet tall maybe. And so this area over here, the initial plan was to interplant other things among the hydrangeas. But what I was looking for were kind of shade-loving plants, like a Brunnera, which would bring that blue and silvery color over here. We just didn't have any shade for the first 2 years. So now that the little willow tree is actually growing, it's providing shade. Next year I can probably bring in some of those more shade-tolerant plants. Otherwise, I'll just keep throwing petunias in here. Oh, goodness, kitty. Otherwise, I'll keep throwing petunias in here for another year or two, and then we can move to some of the shade-loving stuff. All right, let's go check out the cut flower garden. All right, so this cut flower garden has been a workhorse. Last year, it was absolutely amazing. It produced 150 bouquets that we gave away to friends and family and community members. This year, I think we're at almost 70 bouquets. Hopefully by the time this goes out, we're pushing 85 or something like that. But it's been really fun coming out here. Could be a little bit cleaner, and I have some work to do. There's a couple rows that need to be succession planted or that still don't have anything in them at the end of June. It's kind of one of those years where things are just not going in the ground quite as quickly as I had hoped, but the flowers are coming and we'll just keep moving along. In this first row are the stock that I had started from seed. The front couple of varieties here are Quartet Mix, and they're a branching stock. So I'm actually able to cut multiple stems off of each of these plants, and you know, I don't actually know how they are still going. It's been 85, 90 degrees for weeks, and they're still pushing out blooms. I've been so happy with the stock, all the varieties that I planted. It's absolutely amazing. Stock has this great fragrance. It's kind of like a clove scent. I don't know, I love it. And the colors I have this year have been working really good with the other flowers I have early in the spring. Second row, I've got a Zinfandel hydrangea, and then behind it I've got several different types of basil. Cinnamon, Genovese, Italian, couple different things. I will plant another round of basil maybe this week when I have time, basically. I use this as filler. So once it gets a little bit taller, I start using this as a filler flower in bouquets, and personally I really like the smell of it. Perhaps somebody might think it smells like a dinner, but I've really enjoyed the smell of the basil in there. The next row, pardon the tarp, this is the ranunculus that I pre-sprouted earlier this year. I grew it under this low tunnel. I have not got the plastic cleaned up and brought back inside, but that will go away. Overall, it worked really well. I think I could have put the ranunculus out in the tunnel maybe 3 weeks earlier, maybe earlier than that. It warmed up really fast under the plastic. The ground was absolutely workable. Once the plastic came off, it was 80 degrees nonstop. And ranunculus prefer cooler weather, if I remember correctly. And so 80 degrees is a bit too much for them, but absolutely beautiful. I have yellow. It's really pretty pink color. And then I have a light pink. Things are starting to kind of get a little brown, as you can see, but really pretty pink. A couple different varieties in here. My plan is, you can see that now that they're getting a little bit older, they're actually starting to die back a little bit, and I'm gonna let them die back all the way to the ground, and then I will dig up the corms and save them so I can plant them again next winter or early spring. I do have a couple anemones in here as well. They're looking a little worse for wear after that rain, but again, really pretty. They've had fairly good stem lengths. I've been able to use the ranunculus and the anemones in kind of shorter bouquets or put them in mason jars, so I would give them a thumbs up from my experience this year. Definitely will plan to grow them again next year. All right, next row. In front here I have a iris. It's just called a deep purple iris. How's that for a good label? So in this row, I think the grass kind of came back from last year. Once it goes to seed, it spreads its seeds so far. There's so many seeds on this grass. I'm just gonna let it grow because I don't have a ton of filler right now. And then in the front, I have some dianthus, and I believe I have white and pink. And then I have the lisianthus, which I started at the end of January, and I think my seeds were 3 or 4 years old. I was not expecting much, so having this many, I'm pretty excited about this. There's maybe 50 plants in here, and they didn't look like a whole lot when I put them in the ground. They were maybe like a half an inch tall, but you can see, let's see if I can flip the camera a little bit. Like this one's a good 4 inches tall now. So I think they're finding their stride here. We've had really warm weather for them. We just got some rain. You can see I have drip irrigation in here. I've only turned it on twice because I didn't have it set up before we put the hydrant in. All right, next row. This row is the row that I actually planted the grass in this year. And this is ponytail grass. And I had green drops. I don't know if I planted any green drops out here this year. Then this empty space here, I had some canna, are they bulbs, roots? I had some canna bulbs that I just put in the ground maybe a week ago. I'm gonna see if any of them pop up. I don't know if you can use cannas for arrangements or not, but if not, then hopefully they just provide a little bit of color in here. I've got a few plants of cress that are in here. And then at the end I have scabiosa. And I have a few different varieties here. I have Black Knight, Snow Maiden, maybe Blue Oxford. And they're just starting to bud up. So maybe a couple weeks on these, and once they start, they don't stop. So that'll be exciting. I'm gonna jump over this row. The next row here is sunflowers. I started some of these indoors, and they are all budded up. They are ready to pop any day now. This one is just starting to open. I think this rain today is, oh, look at, oh. That one is good to go. So that is the stage that I would actually pick these. And you could pick them maybe like that even, and put them in a bouquet, and they're gonna open by the end of the day. So kindness crew, get ready, here come the sunflowers. I did plant a succession of them in here. So they're probably a month behind. I slacked off on my succession planting, but there will be more in there. And then I did plant them in one other cut flower garden. Next row, what do we have here? Celosia. So I have a little bit of celosia here in the front. I've been cutting some of this. You can see some shorter plants, but this is actually just a mix. So I found a local flower farmer, Basket of Flowers Farm. She's just north of us. And I bought ranunculus and anemone corms from her. And she was working in her flower shop, and she asked if I was interested in celosia. And she had been working on drying and packaging her seeds, and she actually had some that had spilled on the floor, and they were different kinds. And so she packaged up some of them for me, and so I'm gonna have a mix of surprise celosia coming, which I'm super excited about. This one is really pretty. It's kind of a salmon pink color. All right, then we've got snaps. Lots of colors of snaps. My plan to color block these didn't work so well because some of them did not work. And then you can see a bunch that are smaller. That was a succession of them. I did try to propagate some of them as well, so we'll see if that actually works. Doesn't look like they're doing so hot, but can't wait for snaps to come. They're one of my favorites. Next row is the hydrant row. Most important row This is also the tomatoes and the peppers. Very weedy in this row, but I left this one open. It's where I had tomatoes last year, but it's also kind of in the middle of the bed, and that's where we decided to put the hydrants. So this got planted late, and it will get weeded, but it just got the hydrant put in maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. So that's pretty awesome. Very excited about that. Next row over here at the back, we've got marigolds, we've got strawflower, we've yarrow. Oh, come here, kitty. More yarrow, more strawflowers, and then mahogany splendor hibiscus. Oh, hi, kitty cat. All right, so this next row is actually pretty empty. I have a little bit of status at the beginning here, and then the rest of the row is empty. Actually, I think I have saponaria. Is that how you say it? I have that planted in some of the cells, and I think I was supposed to succession plant that as well, but I'll add it to the list. So the status is just starting to come up. I don't know what color I planted. Last year I had purple and white. And this is the weirdest plant. It's just flat to the ground, and then these strange stalks that stick up. This one's covered in cat fur, sorry. And then I have 2 rows of dahlias. These are open rows. I don't have the landscape fabric on these just because sometimes those tubers that I plant are big, and I didn't want to have to deal with the pre-cut holes in here. Overall, these are looking okay. For reference, this year I did not purchase being the keyword, I did not purchase any new dahlias. I tried to overwinter. Oh, look, we got a bud. All right, who are you? Nope, you're not that one. Who are you? Daydreamer. Oh, this is a really pretty one. If I remember correctly, I think this is kind of a creamy orangish yellow. Really pretty. I used that one a lot last year. Anyway, I did not purchase any dahlias this year. I tried to overwinter dahlias. I found a different method that I think worked pretty well. I believe I went in here yesterday and I'm missing 4 in this bed, and I think 4 in the other bed. So overall, not too terrible. The dahlias up front here are, are these pom-pom dahlias? These are from seed, so those are looking good. And then the rest are tubers. I will say that Mom gave me some of her tubers last year, but I overwintered them. And then April and Amanda and I did another exchange this year. So I got some of their tubers again this year, but I did not pay for them. We did a nice even swap. So I'm pretty proud of myself that I had some restraint. I'm trying to cull my list of dahlias down to ones that I truly love and enjoy and like the color of them or the shape of them. So I had some that were not my favorites, and then I have others that I really want to grow the stock that I have of them. I don't need 50 plants of one type, but it would be nice to have, let's say 5, so that at any given time I can come out and pick enough of Daydreamer, for example, to make 5 bouquets. And by having 1 plant of it, I might only get 1 or 2 blooms when I need it. But if I have 5 plants, I might get 10 blooms. So that was my thought process this year on dahlias, and not buying them, but trying to grow my stock of specific ones. I apparently ran out of zinnia seeds here, so I don't have anything in the front couple rows, and actually this whole bed is missing something up here. I might find another hydrangea or perennial to stick up here, but this is zinnias. I just have a couple kinds of zinnias up here. They're just starting. I have pinched some of them back. I've used a couple in bouquets, and others I'm just going to let them go, and the first bloom that they give me, look at that, crazy. First bloom they give me will be their pinching cut. Hi, kitty cat. And then the last 2 rows, I have peonies. So I'm missing 3. I'm not entirely sure that I planted them. I know one of them I did plant and it just didn't come up. But what I was doing with the peonies is I wanted something that would come back. It would provide a nice structure in subsequent years, just a nice shrub at the end of this row. But then during peony season, I would have lots to cut from. And I kind of went from dark to light. So I've got reds, dark pinks, medium pink, light pinks, maybe like a coral, and then white or yellow or cream. So that was how I planned this out. There's 6 in each row, or there will be 6 in each row. So I think one of them bloomed this year. This one's trying really hard. Look at the size of this. I mean, there's gonna be like 1,000 petals in this one if it does bloom. I probably, since it's its first, ooh, look at that. Since it's its first full year, I should cut 1 or 2 of these off and let it put its energy into the root, but it's really hard to cut them off when they look so beautiful, other than all the browning around the edge. Peonies are one of my favorites, so it's really hard for me to cut them off and discard them. So that's a quick look at a couple of the flower beds I have in the front yard. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you will check out some of our other videos, and hopefully we can push a few more videos out. We have been making content a little bit here and there, but pretty much once spring warms up, it's go time, and we're out planting, watering, fertilizing, harvesting, making new beds, doing other crazy projects like trenching 500 feet in the front yard. So it's not that we're not doing anything, it's videos come last, and editing actually comes very last, because I told myself I'm only going to edit on days that it rains, and today is the first day that it has rained. So I have not edited a video in over a month, which is probably why we haven't done anything. But we certainly appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.